Hello artists! Today we are going to continue with how we can be creative in our own home using what we have. Now, to do this project you will need a piece of paper. It does not have to be white paper, it can be construction paper, newspaper, it could even be wrapping paper if you really want to. And you will need some sort of writing utensil. I'm going to use the very handy color pencil I found as I've been cleaning. Now, the other thing you will need for this project is an object that has 4 sides. It could be a square, like my watercolor crayon box. It could be a rectangle, like my artist pastel box. It could even be, which hopefully you have one of these, a book. It needs to be able to fit within the space of your paper. So if you have really big paper, you can choose a really big book. I'm using this one because I like how it uses the space. Thank you, Lakma. I'm going to hold it in place and I'm going to trace all 4 sides. It doesn't have to be perfect because I will be adding things to it later. Now, what I am going to do next and what you need to do next is you are going to, on each side, so there's 4 sides, you're going to make little marks. You're going to break each side into 5 sections. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3. Oh no. 4, and this one looks a little white. So I have one right there. Move it over. There you go. I'm more happy that way. So now each side has 5 little marks, and what you're going to do is you are going to draw lines. Now, there are many different types of lines, and each line is going to start on one side and it's going to connect to the side on the other side. So pretty much, let's say this one I want to do a wavy line. It connects. Top to bottom are going to connect, and then side to side are going to connect. I'm going to stop now and speed up for you. Okay, so as you see, each line that I drew was different. Did use only 2 straight lines. You can repeat your lines. The only lines you probably don't want to use is what we call a broken line because there's spaces in between. And the whole purpose of using these lines was that we pretty much just broke our rectangle into many pieces like a puzzle. Now, what we're going to do in each of these pieces is we are going to draw a contracting contour shape. What that means, contracting, think about what does contracting mean? Think about contractions, how the word cannot becomes can't, how the word would not becomes wouldn't. So contracting means something that gets smaller. So we are going to draw a smaller shape inside of our shape. But I gave another direction. I said a contracting contour shape. Now, a contour is a line, it's a special type of line that pretty much follows along the edge without touching. It can either be an expanding, which means getting bigger, or a contracting, which means it gets smaller, but it follows the shape. So, for example, let's start with this one. There's a straight line, so I start with a straight line, but I can't touch the edge. And then stop, go the other way, hit the stop because I'm going to touch. You want to leave space for this project. You're just following along, but you're following along smaller. Because it's going to make it really hard if you touch when we color this later. Now some, I'm trying to see where, because I know I have one, like this, might get a little difficult. This one, I would actually just pretend that the line doesn't touch, and we'll get to that later when we color it. This one, yeah, you can put a very tiny shape in there. Now I'm going to stop and speed up again so we can keep on going. Okay, I have now put a contracting contour shape inside each little section that we made. What you're going to do now is we're going to color it. Now, this is version 1, and version 1 is you're just going to use one color. I'm not going to use this. I am actually just going to use a black marker. But if you don't have a black marker, you can use a crayon. You can use any crayon. The whole point is that we're just using one crayon. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a pattern. We are playing on the positive and negative space that we have just created. And I like to sort of make it like a checkerboard pattern. So I'm going to show you sort of like how it's done. So the first one, I'm going to trace the outside. It's okay if I go out a little bit outside of the box that we drew because we can always fix that later. Now the negative space is the space around the interior shape. The next one next to it, we're actually going to do the opposite. And we're going to turn the space on the inside black, and the space around it is going to stay white. Now, I am going this way, left to right, sort of like how you read a book. I do that because it's going to help me keep track of everything. So if we follow this pattern, it's going to be black on the outside, black on the inside, black on the outside, black on the inside. So I'm actually just going to do all the inside ones first because it's going to help me not lose track of my pattern. Okay, so if I go across doing that, that means when I then go down, this one has to be the opposite of what I did in this section. So that means this one's going to have the black going around, and then I'm going to go back and forth and back and forth. I'm going to speed it up now so you get a better picture. And there you have it. A beautiful, positive, negative, abstract work of art. Tune in. I will be showing you different versions of this. in case you feel like challenging yourself later on. But also feel free to always take a picture so I can see your own beautiful versions of art.